Today I am building a drawer out of scrap plywood to fill in this cubby at the back door of my house. Hey guys, how's it going? This is actually another project that has been sitting half finished for the last year or so. So as a result, the continuity of my shop is completely shot. I think I started this around the same time I built my laundry platform. If you missed that video, you can check it out up here. To start this project off, I grab a scrap piece of 3/4 inch plywood and clean up the edge on the table saw. Then, referencing my notes, I mark out the crosscuts, and back at the table saw, I break out the crosscut sled and cut the pieces to their final length. Unfortunately, this scrap was only long enough to get 3 of the sides done, so I grab another scrap piece, clean up the side to get rid of this extra appendage, and using the crosscut sled again, I use the previously cut piece to reference the length needed and cut the new piece to length. This will serve as the back of the drawer. With my pieces cut to length, I get some pocket holes drilled. Hey, look! There's my old lumber rack! Before I assemble the drawer, I mark out the bottom of the pieces for a 1/2 inch dado to fit the bottom panel. And then over at the table saw, I cut out the dado using several passes through the saw, adjusting the fence each time to get the width needed. I really need to get myself a dado stack. With the dado cut in, I assemble 3 sides of the drawer with the aforementioned pocket hole screws, get my bottom panels cut at the miter saw, since this scrap wasn't big enough to cover the whole thing at once, pop them into the dado, and screw on the final side. Since this cubby really doesn't have any flat sides for me to screw drawer slides onto, I'm completely nixing the drawer slides, and I'm going to be using casters as the rolling mechanism for this drawer. Though I guess that makes it more of a dolly than a drawer. I'm going to keep calling it a drawer. Using the same scrap piece I just took the bottom panel off of, I cut off a 4-inch strip and cut it into 3-inch segments to get 4 4x3 segments, and install 1 in each corner of the drawer using pocket hole screws. This gives me a full inch thickness to screw the casters into as opposed to the 1/2 inch that would have been there, which gives the screws the stability needed and keeps them from sticking out of the top of the panel. Oh, I guess I didn't record this, but I also installed a support piece underneath to bridge the 2 bottom panels. With the casters installed, I start on the drawer front, which, you guessed it, is another scrap piece of plywood. Using some spacers, I keep it about a 1/4 inch off of the workbench surface and clamp it in place. Then with a couple screws from the back side of the front, it's screwed in place. Then before I go any further, I figure I should take it inside for a test fit, and right about here, I realize where I screwed up. The drawer front is too narrow, which I guess isn't too bad for a random scrap piece, but I wasn't happy with it, so I put it off to the side for a year and replaced the drawer front off camera. Now we're up to, well, still not current day, but a fair bit closer at any rate. And I'm finally getting moving on this again by sanding it up to 220 grit. With my sanding done, I move it into my basement stain and finishing room, and to start off I throw on a coat of this, I think the color is called Cherry Cola paint. More so because we had it left over, and then this way it would tie into our custom IKEA cabinet doors. If you missed that video, you can check it out up here. After 2 coats of paint with sanding with 320 grit in between coats to denib the finish, I install 3 coats of oil-based polyurethane to the whole piece, paint and all. Also with sanding 320 grit in between coats. I just really like the look of this paint after polyurethaning it. I did the same finish on my IKEA doors. Now that the finishing is done, I pop the drawer into its new home, and as is, I find it's looking a little bit odd, especially with the rough finish of the plaster in the corners here. So, since I'm still working in the basement and I have a bunch of leftover trim, I decided to break out some more tools and trim around the drawer to make it look a little bit more intentional, as opposed to something I slapped up to keep the cats out. Which, in all honesty, was the whole reason we decided to do this. Our idiot cat kept going and hiding inside the floor. Case in point, right in the middle of laying out my drawer pull.
No, Apollo! That's exactly why I was putting this in here.
And now you have it on your recording.
Yeah, he's behind the drawer now.
So, I finished getting the drawer pull installed and decapped the cubby. Thank you. And with that, this project is done. It makes my shoes a little bit easier to reach since before they kept getting pushed to the back of the cubby, and it keeps the cats out of the kitchen floor, so I'm happy. Also, the nice thing about having this on casters as opposed to drawer slides, the drawer is really easy to pull out and out of the way if you need to vacuum out the cubby, since now it's a prime haven for dust bunnies. And with 3 cats and a dog in the house, there's a lot of dust bunnies. So, on that note, thank you guys for watching, and if you like what I'm doing here, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more. If you have any questions or comments, I look forward to reading them in the comment section below, and if you want to see more current projects, you can follow me on Instagram at John the Schreiner. Otherwise, I hope to see you in the next video, and have a good one.